The newspaper, their editor, and their reporter have all gone dark. Is that the kind of behavior of people who stand by their reporting? And what about the abortion doctor, Caitlin Bernard? And what about the fact that there is not a single police report? Are you telling me no one's trying to arrest a child rapist in Ohio? Because I know Ohio, and they don't tolerate that there.
This is a horrific story being used to divide Americans, being used to outrage people, being used as a political weapon. And that was one of the main red flags to me, Jesse, was when they do that with a story, you know that they have another agenda.
Okay, we're going to be returning to the agenda in just a bit. But what you saw right there is from a couple of nights ago. You have host and political analyst Jesse Waters for some reason, and right-wing journalist Megan Fox talking about this story that you're probably familiar with of a 10-year-old in Ohio who was tragically raped, became pregnant as a result of it, and had to flee that state to get the abortion she and her family desperately wanted her to have because Ohio is controlled by right-wing zealots who don't give a damn about a 10-year-old being raped, and they don't think that they should have access to reproductive rights. Now, for literally days and days and days, the right has been attempting to present this story as a hoax, implying that it's made up, it's not found in the facts. The Democrats are just using it to scare you about the loss of your rights, as if you needed extra fear in that area. Well, oops, they caught the guy who raped this 10-year-old. It did actually happen, it turns out. Gershon Fuentes, a 27-year-old, was arrested on Tuesday after admitting to raping the child at least twice. And that confirms the Star's initial reporting, which has been attacked all the while, based on the account of a Dr. Caitlin Bernard, who you actually saw in that clip being pictured. She is just constantly attacked as an abortion doctor because they believe that simply acknowledging that, yes, there are going to be medical professionals who will help you to exercise your rights is inherently a bad thing. So anyway, the 10-year-old girl in this case was 6 weeks and 3 days pregnant, according to that doctor. All of this turns out to have been true. It's horrifying now as it was initially. That's why, for instance, President Biden referenced the story in a speech on reproductive rights. That led Washington Post fact checker Glenn Kessler to suggest that the story wasn't verifiable. Love their fact checkers there. His article spurred a 17-minute earlier Jesse Waters segment suggesting that the story was false. Emily Campagno on Fox News went on to call the story fake. She's the person who spread fake news about women in some African country not being able to vote when they're pregnant, and when she was fact-checked by people in the country, she refused to correct herself. Now, of course, they're not gonna correct themselves. Now, why would we expect that they do? The best we can get is maybe what we get from Jim Jordan. So he had put out a tweet calling the story another lie and saying, anyone surprised? He has since deleted the tweet. That's as much admission of fault as you're gonna get. They're not going to acknowledge what they did. But it's really interesting. Jesse Waters, that reporter Megan Fox, who you saw in the video, how are they gonna respond to spreading the idea that this is fake? It's horrendous. And we're gonna get to that in a sec, but Anna, I wanted to give you a chance to jump in on this.
Well, what I thought was fascinating is that the Republican lawmakers did, and members of the media, by the way, did exactly what they do with any other issue. And they do it successfully in most cases. They immediately deflect and distract with some other talking point. So you're no longer talking about the fact that this abortion ban absolutely does force all rape victims, including rape victims as young as 10, to either travel out of state to get an abortion, or if they don't have the resources, as many women and young girls in this country don't, they will be forced to go through the traumatic process of carrying their rapist fetus in their body for 9 months. And then after that, they have to go through the incredibly terrifying experience of giving birth. Let's not forget what that's like, where women remain in labor for hours and hours and hours if they're going to have a vaginal birth, by the way. So let's just think about that for a second. Forcing a 10-year-old to possibly have a vaginal birth of her rapist child, or if the vaginal birth is just untenable, they would rip her body open and take it out through a C-section. It's important for us to stay on topic here, right? Because whether the story is real or fake, and as we know, it is real, and she's not the only 10-year-old in this country who has been raped and will be raped in the future. Let's just keep it real on that. But even if it was somehow proven that this was a fake story, it doesn't change the fact that the law says what the law says. And these Republican lawmakers should be defending the law. But it's interesting that they can't do that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and also interesting that after months and months and months of implying that the liberals don't care about the kids, the liberals want the kids to be groomed. Oh, a kid was actually raped. This is not a hypothetical kid that's under some sort of threat. This kid already experienced something unimaginable, and now they want to force a lifetime of additional horror on this person. Everything that Anna just pointed out, as well as, we can't of course forget the fact that raising the child will cost literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But don't worry, I'm sure she's gonna have amazing earning potential when you force her to start caring for a child at 11. They don't care about that, thus the deflection. Thus the deflection back when they were trying to pretend that the story was fake, and then we get to the current deflections.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.